Alright, hello, this is Neil from MyPaintGirls.com. I'm going to be drawing Spidey from Profile View. I realized I had just finished recording this and then unfortunately damn thing was upside down. The camera recorded upside down. So we'll go ahead and start fresh and do it again. The first thing I like to do is start with sort of a circle, so you can have an idea where you want to go, and then maybe a target area for the chin, and then a direction for the face, like so. And then I might want to bring off his neck over there, and let's see here, let's go with his neck coming down to some point down here, and then coming up here, and have his jaw sort of coming in here somewhere, and finally have trapezius muscle back there, then his shoulders, and it kind of come off that like that, coming down here somewhere, but it doesn't matter because I'm not really going to be seeing all that down there, and I kind of want part of that trapezius muscle back there to be seen, and then you would kind of see all of that, and then this would kind of come up here, right, something like that. So something about like that gets me started, and then you imagine the eye line. I'm not actually going to draw it though, just imagine where it would be, and I'm going to kind of dedicate my first line here. And notice when I do my lines, I dedicate to them in one motion. I pull them in one motion, that way they're going to look nice and smooth. If you're wondering about the pencil I'm using what's called a clutch pencil. And so it holds very thick lead in here, and then I could pull the button, pull the lead out, and then I can take it and sharpen it on sandpaper, which you can buy at art stores. And then it uses this, I'm using this 6B lead here by Turquoise, so it works really good. I like it. It's a very soft lead, the 6B. I want to dedicate these lines here. Sometimes it helps moving the paper around to really dedicate your lines and pull in that one direction you're used to pulling. And I might go over the line a couple times if I want to strengthen it, like so. And then here I want to kind of give Spidey cool look here, and then kind of come up to about here. I don't want it to be too big, but I want him to have this cool look, more like Spawn than typical spider eye. I decide on my light direction, which is going to be coming down like this, which means I want there to be a nice sheen highlight here like this, and I want to actually make that visible with lines, just because it looks cool on a drawing, I think, to have visible lines for where you want the sheen to be. Now I'm going to kind of shade in this area, then come out toward it. Really light shading that. I don't want it to be too dark because his eye piece here is typically like a silver or white, and then it's going to be surrounded by a black piece here, and I'm thinking this is going to be like kind of a plasticky material, so it's going to have a high gloss, which means it'll have the really dark darks, but where the light hits it, it's going to have nice sheens like that. So I want those to really be prominent, like so. Might have another one here, and then maybe another line in there somewhere like that. Might be a little bit of sheen back here because the light will still hit that part as well, but not as much. So I'm just going to kind of make it lighter rather than not quite as dark. I kind of want to add some detail here in like so, and then a couple lines like that, and maybe even a little bit of his cheek, and then add a couple crosshatch lines like coming in that direction like so. And I really want to make his nose pronounced here, almost like you're doing a skull, a side view of a skull, and then you kind of come down a little bit for his mouth, like that, and then come in for his chin. Similar to how you'd like do Deadpool 2, I think, and Spawn and whatnot. All kind of use the same, similar techniques, I think, for side views. Mask, anyone that has a tight mask on their face. I want to actually draw the shadow line there. And I might actually want to add more detail to it than that. That's kind of basic, so let me go ahead and erase that. Sometimes actually drawing your shadow line, like where the shadow is going to fit into, really does make a difference in how it looks. It can look cooler than if you were just a shade. And so I want to add more coolness here, so I'm going to come down here first, then I'm going to come off like this, and just add some cool shapes like that. I want this all here to be really dark under his chin first. If I was using inks, this would be like black. So that's going to be my darkest. What's cool about this pencil, that being so soft, is look at the range I can get. I can get really super dark, and then I can get pretty light as well. And I'm going to kind of use a gradient shade here now, I think, as I shade away from the darkest shadow under his chin. Like so, and then I'm going to pull it into line work, like that. As I come down here, I'm going to use very little definition details. I might actually just show a little bit of the muscle there and pull the line work, and then maybe a little bit of his costume, like the webbing. But I'm gonna get lighter and lighter as I come away, as if I just started and decided not to finish, because that's not important to this drawing. But I did want to kind of fade it out so it looks like it was something there. And then normally this would come really dark all the way down, but instead, because I'm not finishing down there, I'm going to pull into line work like this. And might have a little more detail in here, like so, and then maybe a little bit of shadow here to show the deltoid, and then kind of pull away, something like that. Okay, kind of want to show that line work there. I kind of want to have some shape to it, and shade in with the color. And then maybe even pull off a line over there somewhere. Okay, that's good. Some of this I don't need, so I'm going to erase it. I don't want it to appear in the drawing anywhere. Some of those guidelines I started out with. The shading probably would have covered most of it up anyway, but just in case. I start from the center here where the eye meets the nose, and that's where I start doing my webbing. I'm using a sharper point now of the pencil for a sharper side of it, for I can get nice lines. And I probably should have pulled that line closer, but oh well. That kind of it's kind of stretching naturally with how his face is, I think, so I think it's okay. Kind of trying to show the shape there by the way I did those lines right there. Same thing with that line there. I kind of wanted to show, the shape that it's coming over, different shapes of muscles and stuff. And then finally, I start coming in with webbing this way, the little loops, little curves. I'm not going to draw them in there because I want all the detail to get lost there in the shadow. Like so. This is probably the most time-consuming part of Spider-Man, but after you do it a couple times, you can do it pretty quickly. I'm centering in on the center. Just makes it, I think it's just easier to do it that way. As I come in closer, start from the outside inwards. Then I also want a little bit of shadow here under the nose, a little bit here under the eyebrow, and then a little bit under the chin, under this whole jaw area. Finally, I want to have a really nice pronounced shadow line here, because this is going to be a really dark line. Again, if I was using inks, I would make this pure black. But as I get away from the darkest dark up there, I'm going to start pulling in lighter, and then I'm going to pull into line work as I come down here. I really want that line to be pronounced, so I'm going to re-go over it. I'm going to start darker again, just reinforcing some of this, maybe do some cross hatching. Pull the cross hatching into here in the opposite direction I went before, like so. Finally, I want a little bit of shading overall here to kind of shape his face. And this is going to be line work again. I'm just going to kind of pull these lines like so. And some of those I went way too overboard. I didn't stay within lines very well. So I'm just going to erase some of them. I'm going to kind of reinforce that line shape. I want that all to be darker, but not too dark. And I'm going to add, finally, I'm going to strengthen. Oops, I totally messed that up. I didn't mean to do that. So I'll just really strengthen that line. I want to strengthen the lines here towards the nose, and the reason why I'm doing that is suit lines. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want that to be his eye area. I'm putting most detail in that area because that's where I want the focus to be, is on his eye. So I'm purposely adding most detail in that direction. It's a way to get people's eyes to go in the where you want them to go. And since I'm adding most detail here, I'm actually going to shade each individual piece in between the webbing. Then as I come out, I'm not going to really shade the webbing at all. I'm just going to kind of a little bit of shade like this. I don't want really any shade there, and then I might add just a little bit of shading to these parts like this. I probably don't need much shading in there, so probably not any shading like that. And that's pretty much it. I might add a little more shading over here for that shape. I kind of want it to all fade out, so I might add a little bit of the, where the webbing would come across on this part of his body, and then just kind of fade away like you can't really see in the details of the shadows and stuff. And then maybe to finish this off, real time, it's been 13 minutes, add a little bit of shading back here, and then fade off into line work. And so there's Spider-Man, folks, from side view. And then finally I'll put my signature in here and the date. 2010. Thank you for watching. If you watch this, if this has helped you at all, then please give a thumbs up. Appreciate it.